Hello, happy Saturday, and welcome to My Left Ear, co-hosted by Petey Freeman, who's just going to rest and nap. And if anything goes wrong, he's going to get up and he's going to direct it and fix it. He's a little sleepy to say good morning, but I know you like to see him, so there he is. My Left Ear is a left-leaning YouTube political channel. I do psychic commentary, I do the runes, and I do have runes for you today. And if I didn't say it, it's Saturday, December 23rd. So tomorrow is Christmas Eve for some people. If you have been celebrating Hanukkah, I hope it's been really nice. And that's it. So My Left Ear, what I do when I'm not here is I call myself a change agent. I meet with people individually and do it by Zoom or in person, and I do psychic coaching and runes, and I also have been doing clinical hypnotherapy for over 20 years, helping people with all kinds of issues. And sometimes when people come to me for hypnotherapy, my left ear kicks in because that's my psychic side, and sometimes people get a twofer. So that's that. I'm also an author. I've written The Comic's Daughter, and there's information about that below, and I still have some books to mail out. I'm running out of books, which is good news, and I'm finishing up What is Good Evidence. Now I do have something I want to say. We're on the verge of Christmas, and if anybody wants to do something nice for me for Christmas, this would be a giver's gain, meaning you gain and I gain. So I'm going to tell you, if you would want to spend $8 for a month and join my Patreon, which is patreon.com/Carrie Freeman, I have attached in my latest Patreon video 1 week ago the first 3 chapters of my new paperback, and that will be exclusive to you. I mean, nobody else has seen the first 3 chapters. So I would get a gift, a Christmas gift, and you would get to read the first 3 chapters of What is Good Evidence. And that might be very inspiring for you starting off the new year. So give that some thought. I could use some Christmas gifts. And thank you. I think you'll enjoy it, the Patreon. All right. So here I'm about to do this, disseminate news information, do psychic commentary, and this is for entertainment purposes only. I'm going to try to make it a little shorter today because it takes forever to upload it when the video goes too long. So we'll see how I do. We'll see how I do. I want to give you a little backstory on something. Maybe 3 years ago, 4 years, no, it had to be 4 years ago or more. I was looking at the news and I saw a picture of Kamala Harris in a beautiful suit, wearing high heels, walking up the Capitol steps. It's a magnificent picture. And immediately my left ear went, I think she's going to be president someday. Now you can turn that into, I see her in the White House. But at that time I thought, oh my God, I think she's going to be president at some point. So when she dropped out of the race, I was very surprised. And then she ended up partnering with Joe Biden and becoming vice president, Kamala Harris. Now, I called my brother at that time, who was alive. He's no longer alive. My brother was very well read. He was very interested. But at that time, Kamala hadn't risen, into the public eye like she is now, of course. So I asked him if he knew who she was, and he said no. And he was curious. So I said, okay, take a look at her. I've got this weird feeling. So we then checked up, a couple of days later, and he said, oh my God, she looks fantastic. So I gave the prediction to my brother. I said, okay, I can't tell you why, but I see her as president. All right, so that's the backstory. Now she's in the White House, okay? So she's really close. She's second in line. Now, this is where it's difficult. I believe Biden is going to be our president. He's going to continue to be our president. He's going to get voted in no matter how difficult next year is. And I don't know if he's going to make it for the full 4 years. And this is how I think Kamala Harris could end up becoming president. Now, I don't necessarily am predicting he's going to pass, but there may come something that happens where he's not able to continue, and then she will step in. We will see. The thing about Kamala Harris is she's been in training to become president, and she is for everything that you and I are for. She is a goddess and a protector of democracy. This could be a very good thing. Now, this is all speculation on my part. This is my left ear. She so supports women, blah, blah, blah. Now, I'm going to go on to my second introductory piece. Now that I told you that, which I haven't shared with anybody, for a long time, I've had a hard time seeing Trump actually being able to run for president. This has been a long time that I've thought this. Then this is purely my ear. I didn't do any, runes on it. So now we're up to where we are right now. Petey's getting comfortable. Oh, good, Pete. They can see you better now. Want to turn around and say hi to everybody? I mean, they really like looking at you. There you go. There's my boy. Okay, so three requirements to run for the president of the United States. You have to be 35 years old. You have to be born in the USA, like Springsteen song. And you cannot have committed insurrection. Okay. Now, one thing that's really cool is that Colorado Supreme Court just said, yeah, he committed insurrection. So it's in the books and it's established. That's very cool. So I asked the runes, will Trump be able to run for president? That's a dicey question, right? That's a hard one. So the first rune I picked was breakthrough. And breakthrough is the spiritual warrior. It signals a major shift or breakthrough in the process of self-change. And that would be his self-change. It's a complete transformation in attitude. And for some, the transition is so radical that they no longer live life the ordinary way. And the rune isn't talking about you and I. They're talking about Donald Trump. Because if he couldn't run, he would not be living the ordinary life in the ordinary way. And when he gets convicted. So that's very literal, all right, about him. Now it says, because the timing is right, the outcome is assured. Although not from the present vantage point, like right this minute, right now, because so much is up in the air. And radical trust is called for here by us. It's not just radical trust, it's hard work and determination. But this is breaking through final barriers. And this breakthrough speaks of prosperity. And prosperity is aligned with Joe Biden, not with Donald Trump. So this is, me doing runes for years and years and years. This is my interpretation. And it says this is about a breakthrough, which held you back, but I held us back from forward progression. And now Biden wins that second term and it's forward progression and Trump doesn't even run. This is the line that really gets me because it runs through the next two runes. It is akin to being released from a quagmire. And we have been in a quagmire. Even though Joe Biden is president, Trump is just dragging us down into this horrible quagmire. So the breakthrough speaks of this prosperity, and out of this quagmire is a sudden release of energies that may propel us forward. It is a major period of achievement, not for Trump, and prosperity is often introduced with this rune. And the prosperity has started already with Joe Biden. Bless him. All right, now I got the rune of fertility, which is new beginnings. And drawing this rune may mark a time of joyful deliverance. And Joe running and winning is joyful deliverance. It's a rune of great power. It says to us, you now have the strength to achieve completion or resolution, which opens up new beginnings. And it also signals an emergence from a closed chrysalis state, like of just defending, defending. So as we resolve and clear away the old, we are released from this closed state. And it also says you may need to release a relationship habit or rut. That's the quagmire. So that runs through the second rune, the quagmire. It is the energy of beginnings and new births. And it is epitomized by a phrase which has become one of my favorite phrases: life finds a way. I love that phrase. It has brought me comfort many times. So it says, to us, be prepared, be centered, await your deliverance with calm certainty. Feels good, doesn't it? Then we got the third one about this question about Trump running. Journey in the reversed position. So this puts Trump on notice to be attentive about his personal relationships. And of course, that'll be people that will turn and testify against him. That's coming up, and even more that we don't even know about yet. Ruptures may be likely more than reconciliations. That would be true. And this is kind of funny when you think about ketchup on the walls. It may be an effort to keep his good humor. I think that's an ongoing thing, him not, being able to keep his good humor and throwing ketchup against the walls. So the requirement for his growth may totally disrupt what he had intended, okay? And desired outcomes may elude him. What he would regard as detours and conveniences, disruptions, are rerouting opportunities. And I wrote failure and imprisonment. So there really is this chance he may not run. There's a chance, okay? Just be aware of that. All right, now I'm going on to, this is just strictly my left ear. In terms of the Supreme Court will vote to not give Donald Trump immunity. Basically, if they would vote to give him immunity, that is the thing that would turn the United States into a fascist organization. I mean, it would be everybody can run amok, and any president can run amok and take over. Not that Joe Biden would do that, but even Joe Biden. It's insane. But there may be, this is my left ear, one SCOTUS vote to grant him immunity. And I have a hunch if it's anybody on the Supreme Court, it is Clarence Thomas. Now, Clarence Thomas, it is believed, I believe, that he's not recusing himself. Because if he does, it's going to implicate his wife. It's going to mean he's going to be saying, in effect, I know all about the insurrection. I'm closely aligned with someone who was involved in the insurrection. So he just kind of has to stay put and be quiet. I didn't throw runes on this, and I don't know how we'd prove it, but we have some amazing journalists right now, that the Federalist Society is breathing down the throat of SCOTUS because they would like it if he didn't have immunity, if he just didn't have it, because almost all the trials, not convictions, indictments would go away, but that's not going to happen. All right, so I want to tell you that. Now, Colorado, it's very interesting. The people that brought the lawsuit to take Trump off the ballot as president in Colorado were Republicans, okay? Not Democrats. Just need to make that clear. And they said that he's an insurrectionist and he shouldn't be on the ballot. So the experts, like retired Judge Ludwig, he's brilliant, and Lawrence Tribe, think this was a perfect decision. It was a right decision, what Colorado did. Now it's going up to the federal Supreme Court, and my left ear believes that our Supreme Court is going to oppose what Colorado did. They're not going to accept that ruling. And even though it's very appropriate and good, technically, that he should be off the ballot, our SCOTUS, our crooked mafia SCOTUS, is going to find an off-ramp to avoid the mess. But you know what? It's basically okay. I'm not worried. This is not going to make or break us. All right. There's other things that are actually more important, I think. But keep an eye out. My left ear tells you, keep an eye out on Michigan. There's a chance, even with this federal ruling, that Michigan may do the same to take Trump off their ballot. And all their leaders now in Michigan are Democrats, okay? So keep an eye on that. Now, I'm going to talk about Clarence Thomas for a minute. There's a backstory on him that I did not know, that at one point he had gotten himself into lots and lots of debt, and he began complaining about it, and he began complaining that he wasn't earning enough money in the Supreme Court, and he talked to Federalist friends about this, and he panicked them that he might quit because he's just not making enough money. And it's a form of extortion because the Federalist people want things, especially from Clarence Thomas, because he's so crooked, and he hates Biden, blah, 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 blah. All right, so Clarence Thomas, Ted Lieu, fabulous Senator Ted Lieu of California, tweeted this. Clarence Thomas needs to resign. Not only did he take lavish, undisclosed gifts from billionaires, he did so because he felt he needed to. There's the money issue. That is the formula for corruption. Justice Thomas has brought shame upon himself and dishonored the Supreme Court. So the heat is on, and it's not going to be removed for Clarence Thomas. He's a really bad character. He's a really bad actor. So just wanted to say that. I think eventually Ginny Thomas is going to get swept up into probably a RICO indictment for insurrection because there's so many people involved in the Senate and the House and other departments. Now, I like Bill Palmer, who writes numerous articles on Twitter, and he does the Bob Palmer Report. And all I'm going to share with you is a few things he said. He said, over the weekend, Ron DeSantis's high-profile campaign strategist resigned, seemingly ending DeSantis's increasingly remote 2024 prospects. DeSantis has been in free fall for more than half a year. And I'm here to tell you that giant donors, millionaire donors, just withdrew that kind of money for 2024 from Ron DeSantis. So he's lying next to Ivana at Bedminster. So Palmer said when DeSantis was gearing up for his national introductory tour, he and Trump were tied in primary polling. I didn't realize that. So many Republican primary voters were so eager to move on from Donald Trump, they latched on to DeSantis. So that's a point to remember. They were so eager to move on from Trump. All right. So we keep hearing about how Trump is a lock on 2024 for the Republican nomination. It's false and it's easily disproven, according to Bill Palmer, because DeSantis single-handedly disproved it. When Republican primary voters flocked to Ron with no questions, they were that eager to get rid of Trump. So that gives us a big hint. Bill Palmer's right. He's often right when you look back on, he makes predictions. He's often right. Now, he does say, because he's fair, and I think he has a legal background, this doesn't mean Trump won't be the Republican nominee, except you've heard my question marks about that. The remaining Republican candidates are stunningly inept, even by Republican standards. But that doesn't mean that the nomination isn't there for the taking, and it'll probably be Nikki Haley, who I can't stand. Let's see what happens, he says. Palmer says, let's see what happens. And I made a prediction a long time ago that there would be at least one Trump conviction, criminal conviction, before the election. There may be two, but definitely one, and it will be Jack Smith. Even if it's prolonged a little bit, it's pushed back a little bit, it's still going to happen. The DC trial with Judge Chutkan. All right. And now we're coming to the end. That I'm going to talk about Jeffrey Epstein for a minute because he hasn't been discussed in a long time. He's still someone of interest. There's so much secrecy, but there's been a legal issue about exposing documents that have his cronies and friends, and you know what I'm talking about. So there is a names list that's coming out in 2024 because this legal thing got handled. And the judge is made a decision that he's allowing all these names to be released except for 3. We may find out, but right now, 3 names on that long list are going to be kept secret. So that's the judge's choice. But it rules that 150 others that's a lot of people, with Jeffrey Epstein will be unsealed and available for us to read. My left ear, some of this isn't that psychic, but I think Clinton, Trump, lawyer Alan Dershowitz, the Prince, and believe it or not, I think Henry Kissinger is going to be on this list. Okay. So this ends a 5-year legal battle to get this document. And the legal battle was from the Miami Herald, because there's a brilliant journalist named Julie Brown that's been on the Epstein story. So keep an eye out in 24. It's going to be very uncomfortable, the names that are going to come out. And I'll tell you what, the fact that Clinton's name is going to come out, I just feel awful for Hillary Clinton that anything has to be rehashed. The woman does not deserve it. Now, she chose to stay with him. They have a connection, but She doesn't deserve any more. All right, we're coming to the end now. So here's some factual good evidence, of course, because it's evidence. Inflation is down by 1.9%. It's not a lot, but it's down, okay? Unemployment is below 4%. At one point, it was like 10% or higher. And I'm going to repeat this because it's really good for the books, for the history books. Colorado Supreme Court declared that Trump is an insurrectionist, and that's going to be there forever. So that's awfully, awfully good. I'm just going to tell you a teeny little story because it's very sweet, and I'm going over than I wanted, so I'm going to keep working at shortening these a little bit. So God knows how long this is going to take to upload, but you will get it by Christmas Eve, which is tomorrow or late tonight. I had problems with my furnace in my apartment. It was making incredibly loud noises, probably waking up my neighbor downstairs. And so the new manager said there's 2 specialists coming out, and they came out, and it was an older man, kind of really short, and a taller, much younger man, and they spoke a foreign language, which I thought possibly was Russian. Sounded like that, Middle European. And so they came in with all these, machinery and instruments, and they went to town on my furnace. I gave them the background. I had videotaped it for the sound. And then they were talking. And the older man, says, "Oh yeah, we're gonna fix this. It's gonna be fine." Very confident, and they did. And so this, they were finishing up and cleaning up, and they said, "Oh, it's gonna be okay now." I said, "Did you have to shave away some of the metal that was banging?" And he said, "Yes." So out of the blue, I said, "So I'm curious, where are you from? What's the language you were speaking?" Now, you may have picked up from watching me that I ask a lot of questions. I am naturally curious about people. This is very normal for me, every day practically. And so what I noticed was the old man looked down. And there was a pause, and he said, without looking at me, "Russia." And I could tell he was not comfortable. He didn't know what kind of response he was going to get from me. It was just a little bit, why is she asking? So I recognized the moment, my left ear did. And I went, "Oh, my mom's side of the family are all Ukrainian." And the young, tall man perked up, got like a smile on his face, and he went, "Me, Ukrainian." And I went, "There you go." Now, the older man had said to me when I asked, he said, "Russia, then Ukraine." And then they both relaxed, and we said our goodbyes. I thanked them, and they left. But it was just a special moment where we connected. And I thought, look I'm in this apartment, and I get a Russian and a Ukrainian that come in to fix my furnace, which they did. This is another piece of it. They're tradesmen. And I have such respect for tradespeople that I was like, oh yeah, they just came in, they knew what they were doing, they were like, da, 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 da. So it's just kind of a sweet thing. It's just a sweet thing. It's just odd with our history that I had I think there was a father and a son, I'm not sure, but they were lovely and sweet, and just had so much respect for them. Now I do have a quote for you, and it's by a man named Václav Havel, Havel. He died in 2011. He was a Czech statesman, author, poet, playwright, and dissident. Havel served as the last president of Czechoslovakia from 1989 to 1992. He was considered Czechoslovakia's leading playwright, and he wrote more than 20 plays and many works of nonfiction in his career. He was also a perennial victim of state repression under the communist rule. And this was a fact that permeated all his writing. So here's the quote, because it's really something, or I think it's really something. Isn't it the moment of profound doubt that gives birth to new certainties? Perhaps hopelessness is the very soil that nourishes human hope. Perhaps one could never find sense in life without first experiencing its absurdity. It's a intense quote. I'll put it in the community section. I'm going to copy it right now so you can read it yourself. I'm going to put it in the community section. So I'm copying it, I'm copying it, I'm copying it. There it is. So there you have it. And of course, I didn't shorten. I shortened it by 3 minutes from the other day. So we'll keep trying. It just seems when I come on, I have so much to talk about, and I have more notes of more things to talk about. So there you have it. I'll see you next week before the new year, although I think it probably will be a quiet week, so who knows what I'm talking about. Think about joining Patreon, because you can join and quit. So it's $8 a month if you want to see all my posts. But most importantly, I'd love for you to read the first 3 chapters of What is Good Evidence. I think you'll love it. I think it's a nice thing to read before the new year. And it's like I give something to you and you give something to me. So there you have it. Giver's gain is what I call it. And have a great, safe holiday. I wish you well, peace and blessings. And better, it will be challenging times in 24, but there will be gifts in 24. We can see this happening now. But don't expect smooth sailing. Okay, just want to warn you. Now, we're going to go to Pete so you can get this. He's so sleepy. Petey, can you say goodbye to everybody? Why is she bothering me? There you go. Just, everybody loves you. Everybody likes to see you. He had a grooming this morning, so his coat is really smooth and shiny. Good boy. He's a good boy. I know people really like it when he comes up on the desk, and so he does. I have a couple of clients that he just plops right down and says, okay, I'm gonna be a part of this session. And he's kind of a therapy cat. All right, peace and blessings, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.